And welcome back to another recording of RollForDamage. And we will, of course, be continuing our Vampire the Requiem, the Lost Nights Chronicle setting. Joining me, of course, is Henry.
Hey!
Russell.
A little late, but here.
I can barely hear you, Russell.
Let me lean closer to the microphone.
That's better. And
All right.
Dominic.
Shout. Hello.
Shout, shout.
Oh, you make me wanna.
Okay, then. This is a very late episode for us. Even though for those of you listening, it's probably not going to seem any different. So if my energy levels are down, I will apologize. But we're going to plow through it all the same. So we're going to go ahead and do a recap briefly. Keep in mind when you do a recap, guys, just recap the last session. You don't need to recap, the sessions before that.
No problemo.
Okay, I'll start with a recap with Dominic.
Uh-oh.
Oh, me first?
Yes.
Okay. I won't go on for an hour this time. But we started out in Trenton's apartment. And there was a lot of investigation going on as to whether about the blood spilt in the apartment and about Trenton's missing sister. It was interrupted by a police officer that came to the apartment. Turns out that the police officer was actually a werewolf. Resisted Russell's character's attempts to persuade him not to come in. Chased us all out. We've had a riff chase, which we all successfully got away from the werewolf and found ourselves at a casino called the Eternal Nights Casino, ran by, I don't recall who was running the casino, but it was a Order Dracul member. We got safe haven there, and we went to a club called Pandora's Box, and we had a lot of fun there.
Let me correct you there. The club was the Purgatory.
Oh, the Purgatory. Why? Oh, but it was called the Slurpee, right?
That was the slang.
That's what
Was
that's what the other vampires referred to it as, the Slurpee.
Right. The Slurpee. Okay. I remember that much, but how did I get Pandora's Box? Was the Fey-blooded vampire? She ran the Pandora's Box, right?
I'll sort that out for you later.
Okay, yeah, maybe I was getting that confused. I thought, okay.
Yes.
Anyways, I'll let Russell and Henry go over what their characters did at the club. But Trent basically just was at the bar, ordered some the very potent form of the synthetic blood that's being sold now, and basically had that experience, which he enjoyed. We'll probably go back for more. But he got to see the band Blessed Damnation. I think the band members... Well, I'll leave that. So I don't think even Trent knew who the band members were. But yeah, it was a good time. And there was good music. They did a cover of a Nine Inch Nails song, which I don't remember the title of right now. But and then Trent met the Fey-blooded vampire of the Caecid bloodline. Her name's Pandora. She's a mix of Deva and Fey. Although I don't know if Trent knows that necessarily, but I think
I don't think he would know the details, but he knows that.
Right, but I think Henry might know the details or not Henry. I mean, Lucia might know the details.
Oh yeah, Lucia knew the details. She just didn't tell you.
Right. So I'll leave it at that, just so I don't go on and on.
All right, then. I will move to Henry next.
Yay, it's my turn! Okay, so yeah, like we said, we started, like Dominic said anyway, we started off at Trent's apartment, and Lucia did the whole LA Noir dealy thing, investigating, looking for clues, questioning the witnesses and suspects. And just as she was about to theorize and kind of, throw ideas at the wall to see what her coterie members thought, suddenly the werewolf Secret Service squad members decided to break down the door, and Mr. Russell's character, Tybalt, thought, he could, chat them up. However, the wisest course of action did indeed turn out to be run away, like Lucia said 5 minutes before. So a rooftop chase ensued. Lucia broke her ankle for a little bit moment, but afterwards she directed them to the Eternal Nights Casino, where they sought asylum for the night because it was run by one of her fellow Order Dracul members, Damien. After offering as little information as she could for the Elysium for the night, they woke up and then they went to go do some investigation. However, before they could investigate, a matter of needing to feed themselves came up. So they went to go to the nearest rack, which was nicknamed Slurpee Central, otherwise known as Purgatory. Inside Purgatory, they all kind of split off and do their things. Tybalt went to the dance club, and Trent went up to the bar, and she decided to look for any wallflowers that she could feed from. After having fed from a wallflower and, feeling a little guilty, or maybe, slight interest, she actually ghoulified the girl, Dana, who was just, happened to pique her interest. So now she has a ghoul. After a moment, when they got all back together, she received an invite from Devin Masters, the guy who she had met earlier at the previous Elysium that was run by the... What's that Covenant's name? Bella Dravnik, Circle of the Crown, that's right. But that's neither here nor there. She got an invite from Devin Masters, who tried to give her as much helpful advice, it seemed, as he could, without either breaking a blood oath or something. He was basically forced to seal his lips against his will, either through magical means or severe fear. But she took what she could from what he was saying as an advice to just go with whatever the fuck that you're doing, just do it. So they were just about to go investigate further into Trenton's sister's disappearance by actually killing two birds with one stone and talking to the sheriff, who may or may not have set the entire thing up. And that is, as they say, is the rest of the story.
All right, Mr. Russell.
Well, as the other two fellows here have said,
A little louder if you can.
I'm leaning
Louder!
I am forgetting to lean near the microphone. Let me do that again. As was mentioned by fellows, started in Mr. Maddox's apartment, hunting around for clues, looking at blood. There was a lot of scratch marks, huge scratch marks, proximal blood pools all over the place. On the mirror in the bathroom was written the words betrayer, I believe. There was some investigation going on. The doorbell rang. Mr. Tybalt, assuming that it was just someone completely normal, assumed that he could talk his way out of the situation. That failed after some spectacularly bad rolls, and then there was rooftop fleeing. The rooftop fleeing was engaged with some success. The coterie fled to a nearby haven of a member of the Order Dracul named Damien. There was technical hospitality bestowed, and after which everyone decided them's hungry. So we fled to the Purgatory, otherwise known as Slurpee Central. Headed inside, everyone broke apart to engage in their individual feeding rituals, whether that be from the bottle, from wallflowers, or from annoying people. Well, such things were engaged. Again, people broke off. Miss Cole went to go speak to one of the members of the band. Mr. Maddox spoke to the owner of a club. I'm not going to say which now because apparently there's confusion on such a matter. And then there was discussion over what exactly should be done in the future. There was discussion of going to talk to the werewolves. Mr. Tybalt had mentioned that he had a third contact that might be able to do things with the blood, and there was discussion with the sheriff, and that was left as something at the end of the session. I don't believe there was any further actions. Unless I'm forgetting something. I don't think I am.
No, I think that's about it as well.
All right.
All right, then. The night is still relatively young, and you have many hours before sunrise is to, well, rise, forcing you once again to seek shelter from its delightfully horrible rays. Which reminds me, hold on, I'm going to put my status on Do Not Disturb. I have people message.
Do not disturb.
Anywho, carrying on then. It seems as though the coterie has settled on a course of action. And that is where we rejoin them, following that course of action. So, what is it you guys are going to do?
Well, we are going to head back to Elysium, the real Elysium, and just see what we can get from Miss, Graves as a result of the local werewolf packs, and see if maybe we can't glean some information about whether or not she had anything to do with, setting us up or being framed.
Okay. I assume that's a consensual plan from everybody?
Yeah, is Charles on board with this now?
Yes.
Okay. You all gather together, but it seems that Elysium is quite a bit of ways. Seeing as how you did take a cab to get here. And, how are you going to be arriving at Elysium? It's maybe 3 or 4 miles away from where you currently are.
I guess we could let, Mr. Tybalt hail a cab again, since he's so good at it.
I can hail so damn dramatically.
I'd rather ride than walk.
Yes, it's not the most dramatic entrance, but I suppose it'll have to do. A cab will do just fine to get to Elysium.
All right then. Go ahead and give me a roll.
That was presence plus what? Socialize?
I think I said socialize last time. Yeah.
1 success.
1 success.
1 success.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Here you go. Taxi. Taxi. Finally, you're like, ugh. Taxi. Finally, one stops.
I was practicing my yodel. Please, open door politely.
As he opens the door, Lucia Cole nods and steps in.
All right.
Trent jumps in as well. So you guys, who are we talking to?
We are
Once
going
we get to Elysium.
We are going to go straight to the horse's mouth, as they say so often, and we are going to speak with Sheriff Graves herself.
Ooh, I am not a fan of her.
As risky as that may be, it may give us some more firmer direction to go on.
Are we going to have access to that nomad that showed up last night?
I'm not necessarily certain, but we will know once we're able to talk with the sheriff. Because if anyone has control of the nomad, it's most likely her anyway.
Most fortuitous to.
Lucia, I want you to come with me to talk to the nomad, because you have more insight into what these who vampires are, or what the nature of their curse.
I have as much insight as anyone who bothers to study their background.
And I don't do studying very well.
I'd be more than happy to talk to Miss Graves while you go with your student, Miss Cole.
I am weary to leave you to speak with Miss Graves, lest you tip her off that we find her suspicious.
Have a little faith, Miss Cole. I'm more than able to subterfuge our intentions.
Either way, we still must seek permission from her to speak with the nomad anyway.
Fair enough.
All right.
All right. After a short drive, you arrive at the gates of the Natural History Museum.
Step on out and head inside.
Well, I thought Dominic was going to say something in character. That's why I stopped talking.
Oh,
Yeah.
is there a holding cell at Elysium or something? You guys know?
It's a museum. If there's a holding cell of any sort, it is most likely kept a secret.
What do they keep them with, the woolly mammoths?
Yes, Mr. Maddox, with the woolly mammoths. That's exactly where they keep them.
Anyway, the night is young and we still must hurry. And with that, Lucia steps out and proceeds to make her way to the entrance, as she has done so many times previously.
Okay, as you guys exit the vehicle, make your way up to Elysium, you follow the normal routine that you usually do. You know, you show your quote-unquote papers to the security there. They, of course, recognize you, but they have to do their job. They run your papers, you know, you clear, they let you in, so forth. This time, though, the atmosphere for the museum is a lot different. Obviously, this isn't a Elysium night, so there's not a lot of people here.
It's closed.
Well, yeah, it is closed, but essentially it's always business as usual. You know, you see very few of your kind in the area. You do see a couple of noteworthy ghouls that you know that work specifically with within Elysium herself or itself under the authority of Miss Bell. And of course, you make your way into the grand hallway, which is where Elysium is kept. You look around, and there doesn't seem to be anything here. You know.
Would Lucia know where exactly she may find Bella?
Well, common sense would probably dictate it would be best to maybe address one of the ghouls or one of the retainers here. Maybe they can, you know, advise you as to where she can be found.
If that's the case, she will grab the attention of one of the nearest ghouls then, instead.
Alright. You go and you wave to one of the girls. She seems to be carrying a very large stack of books. She stops for a minute. She turns to you. She goes, yes, ma'am. What can I help you with?
I was wondering, would Sheriff Graves be in her office?
No. Sheriff Graves has not returned since last night's gathering. She had business to take care of, so she took the prince's, She kind of stops for a minute. She had business to take care of, so she went out on business.
Well, I need to leave a message with her that only she can read. Can you direct me to her office anyway?
No, I can't take you to her office, but I can gladly deliver a message should that be needed.
I do believe you didn't hear a word I said. I said this was for her eyes only, and I needed to leave it in her office. So you're either going to hinder my investigation and possibly cause Miss Graves to be quite upset, or you can be helpful and possibly receive your just reward.
Ha ha! That sounds like a great deal of bullshit to me, out of character.
It quite possibly is. You decide!
Alright, go ahead and give me your call, presence or manipulation, because both can work, with either politics, kindred affairs, or intimidation.
I'm going to say politics, kindred affairs, and manipulation.
Okay.
Or presence, actually. Presence, because she's trying to make it like more authoritative than anything.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's 4 dice anyway.
Yes.
If you did intimidation, I would have had Trent grinning with teeth exposed, long canines exposed.
I mean, he's still doing that. It's just a little out of place now.
No successes.
All right.
Can Trent interject?
She kind of goes and she looks down, fiddling with the books that she's carrying. Well, no, you see, it's just I don't have the authority to take you into the inner workings of where the residents reside. I'm only allowed to be here, and since I am not allowed to take you into the inner workings I can only leave a message at her mailbox.
Well then, is Bella in her office? She's the master of this Elysium, the one that you report to. I'd much rather speak with her then, since you lack the competence.
Okay, this'll be fun.
Okay.
Lucia is such a bitch.
Actually,
Awesome.
that bitchiness is what's actually coming into play right now. I'm actually going to need a humanity roll from her.
A humanity roll?
Yes.
Never has such bitchiness been born.
No, actually, there's a reason for it.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. Currently, I think right now your humanity is at 6, correct?
Yeah. Her humanity is at 6.
I think that is going to be a 3 dice roll.
A 3 dice roll? I thought I was just rolling the humanity score.
No. Depending on the rating, there is a dice pool that is assigned to it. Unless I am misinterpreting the rules listed here.
I thought that was just for degradation.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's happening.
Oh, okay. 1 success.
She seems so familiar. She reminds you so much of you, or at least the you that you used to know. It seems almost strangely scary. Like looking on the outside, looking in. This is possibly who you used to be, or at least a fragment of who she was. Did people really treat you this way? If so, it's no wonder you became the beast you are now. The creature of darkness. But as quickly as those thoughts enter your mind, you shrug them off. The girl hangs her head and she's like, yes, of course, her offices are right this way. She goes and she leads you off to of course, Bella's study.
With that, she waves over her coterie companions and walks, remaining awfully silent this time around.
What is this, the White House?
Dun, 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 dun. There's a soft
More dead
knock on
guys?
the door as the door that leads to Bella's quarters opens. She goes and she sticks her head out. Yes, child. She goes and she addresses her ghoul. She goes and she turns to see the lot. Ah, Shurens, you come. She smiles. What is it that we and I can be doing for you?
Lucia bows respectfully. There are a few things which I may ask, as best as I can. I don't suppose you know where Sheriff Graves has gone off to, or if they may have stashed away the party crasher last night.
Ah, yes, Sheriff Graves. She be attending to the work of the prince. The prince gave her assignment to carry out. Breach of masquerade was made, so breach must be addressed. She smiled and nods matter-of-factly. She be addressing this. But you speak of the one who came and create such ruckus. She is here. She kind of speaks, her voice kind of trailing off. Under Elysium quarters, yes.
Well, Mistress Dravnik, I don't suppose there is any way you could provide us an opportunity to question her, for I am running my own investigation concerning a possible breach in the masquerade under Sheriff Graves' orders, as dictated last night.
Her eyes kind of go and they narrow a bit. Why you speak to her? Of what matters? What means?
Well, after a rather interesting tidbit of information the sheriff has given me, it may seem that our nomadic friend may have answers pertaining to either the warehouse or, I would say, theoretically, a breach with our treaty with the Lupine.
She goes, her eyes still looking at you very accusedly. Go ahead and roll a presence plus persuasion.
4 dice. Rolling. No success.
Bah.
Shit.
Yes, I cannot be alone. On sheriff's authority, we keep her restrained and subdued. No
Ma'am?
visitors, she says, very sternly.
I kind of lean forward. Mr. Avanique, I hate to be a burden, but we are working on the sheriff's orders for a crucial task for her. And I don't think that it would be best for you to slow us down. It is an important task for her in her current investigation involving this masquerade breach, or at least so we believe. Something to do with that one's relations. Gesturing head towards Mr. Maddox. So it is of dire nature that we speak immediately to them. Of course, if we happen to engage in that speech with her, perhaps we could find out how she so quickly managed to slip by all your carefully placed defenses. Because, of course... Was that in character? Or?
No, that was out of character. I know
Okay.
exactly how she breached her defenses. He's standing right next to us.
Yes.
Okay, Charles, go ahead and give me a manipulation plus subterfuge roll.
I can't persuade?
No, because that is more bullshit than persuasion.
I'm telling the truth somewhat.
Exactly, and that somewhat is what made it subterfuge.
Urgh.
Come on, botch.
No botching.
Big bucks,
I've
no
had a-
whammies.
There we go, that's okay. 2 successes. That's okay.
Her eyes widen a bit as she seems to raise in her area, the door opening wide. You dare preach to me of what is right and what is wrong? You who is still young, not even centuries under the belt. You who thinks you know the inner workings of the dance. Her eyes kind of wild and flaring a bit. You are but childrens, playing in games you do not understand. Her voice seeming to grow raspy and almost serpent-like.
Ma'am. I'm sorry. Sorry, am I interrupting her? Out of character.
No, she kind of stopped talking for the moment.
Okay. Ma'am, I'm sorry. My friends here, they're really trying to back me up. I'm in a bind. There was a terrible event that happened with my sister.
As he's talking, Lucia elbows him really sharply.
Ow.
Learn your place before you speak again.
He kind of cowers back, but he's keeping eye contact with Bella.
Miss Isabella, while you are correct in supposing that none of us here have gained your, of course, invaluable centuries of knowledge, it does not take centuries of knowledge to realize that one way or another someone breached your defenses, and that is an essential thing to learn. And obviously, if you knew already, you would have made mention of it. So, obviously, the nomads hold no respect for your revered nature and high position, whereas being a, how you put it, child, I think they would be more willing to speak to us, and obviously they would let something slip that would allow us to properly report to you how they managed to evade your masterful eyes. It's merely to serve for your greater good, Miss Isabella, madam.
Her eyes still flash wildly. She seems very upset at her being instructed what to do in her domain, no less.
Eyes respectfully downwards, if not the most coy smile across the face.
She takes one step forward, and almost as soon as she takes that step forward, you feel your bodies almost instinctively step back. Whether out of fearful from a strike or some sort of recourse or expression of her distrust. But she kind of relaxes her gaze a bit. She takes on her soft, sweet smile once again. Children, you must listen. And rest assured, we work on Prince's authority. And it is the Prince who has seen all this. As such, we must respect what she wishes. If she wishes only Sheriff Graves to see and deal with this creature, then that is what will be. For your own protections. She smiles.
It's at this moment that Lucia speaks up. Well, unfortunately, we have very little else to go on then, and we must find a way to contact Sheriff Graves herself. I do have something I need to give to her in person, privately, seeing as how she is busy with the prince. Could you at least do us the small boon of directing us to her office so I can leave her the note?
She goes and she blinks a bit. I direct you, yes. She goes and she nods. She leads you down, closing the door behind her. You continue down the hallway a bit. As continuing down the hallway, you go to a section that is marked employees only, no entry. Of course, as soon as she opens the door, it's a very large office with security cameras everywhere. Well, I mean, not security cameras. I'm sorry. The monitors from security cameras are present here. This be her office when she come to Elysium. As she goes and she lets you in, but her eyes watching you very closely.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, at this point, Lucia wants to make a quick scan of the room as best as she can.
I will as well.
Okay. What are you guys looking for specifically?
I am looking for... Okay, there are a few things that she's looking for specifically. She's going to also activate Auspics, heightened senses, just so she can get that bonus for it.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially what she's looking for is she's looking for either, fur, tattered clothing, blood, like drops of blood, shifted papers, or, anything that would seem to either be concealed or hidden, like in a rush or in a hurry. Not like specifically trying to hide, but, just, thrown away so it wouldn't be in the way, or you get what I'm trying to say, right?
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Okay, go ahead and make your roll first.
All right.
While Lucia and Charles are doing that, Trenton's going to mingle a bit with Bella.
Wonderful.
Well, hold on. Charles, what were you looking for? The same thing?
I'm looking for anything in the room that could give any sort of hint as to where the sheriff actually went to.
Okay, okay. Go ahead and make your separate rolls.
Okay, am I going to roll intelligence, investigation, and do I get any bonuses for auspics?
Also, yeah. You'll get a +1 bonus for your aspects.
Same here, intelligence plus investigation.
Yes.
All right.
All right then. Proceed, Trenton.
Ma'am, Miss Dravenik, I know that you're a gangrel like myself. I'm really curious about the condition that we have. What makes us more animalistic? Sorry, out of character. You probably want to say that. Yeah, we're more like animals. I'm really curious about this. What do you think about this condition?
She goes in and she speaks up. We were chosen by the Night Mothers. The Night Mothers took us and she claimed us as her own, just as she laid with the many creatures of the earth and learned of them. So too did we gain those traits. It is blessing bestowed upon us, for surely we are all beast inside. And part of keeping the beast inside in control is to let the beast out. She leans in close and she goes, better to walk the animal on a leash than have the animal walk you.
I can appreciate that.
3 successes, by the way.
Okay.
1 success over here.
Oh.
That's a lot like my own experience has shown. It's better to control the bronco before it bucks you off.
Yes. Family all the same. We are. Blessed all the same we are. The crone, she gives us her blessing.
The crone. I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. Seems contrary to what the sanctum's been teaching me. It seems that God gave us this curse to show something to humans, to show them their place.
She goes and she smirks a bit. Anyway, flashing to Lucia real quick.
Yay!
Her eyes kind of go and she sweeps the room, kind of shifting through everything.
Blues Clues.
At the moment, it seems as though Miss Bell is distracted in conversation with Trenton. Your eyes roam the room to where she has her coats hung. You do see that she does have 2 rows of coats, but 1 coat is missing from the row. You can also see there's a number of papers that have been shifted about. Charles also notes that there is a large sort of map on the cross section of the wall, and on it there seems to be a number of buildings that have been highlighted, and it looks as though from your understanding of it, it seems to be some sort of marking, some sort of like they're trying to piece together a certain trend or a certain pattern that is erupting, but you're not able to determine what it is quite exactly. But what you are able to make out is the most recent addition is at a warehouse called Warehouse 13.
Okay.
Now, as for Lucia, as she continues to look around, she does see a couple of papers and she pulls them out to read them. One of it's a memo from the prince to the sheriff talking about the arrival of some old friends of hers. One Josephine Valentine, who while is no longer of the Lankia Sanctum, she is to be treated with respect and given her way, as it were, through Elysium. You find another such memo that makes reference to a number of other shipments that are coming in. stuff like that. Mainly stuff for the museum that she has to sign for. A couple of artifacts that are coming in that seem to have been gone under the nose of the Order Dracul. Maybe intentionally, maybe not.
Just real quickly, as she's looking through these papers, just to keep up with the masquerade of what she's actually doing, can she withdraw her notebook, like the pencil to her notebook at least? So she's making it look like she's looking for paper.
Okay. Alright, that's not a problem.
Alright, so what else does she find?
You find that there is a shipment of artifacts that came in from all over the place, but it seems as though the majority of the shipment came in from Cairo. That's Egypt, by the way.
Yes.
And that, according to the treaty that the Lenkia Sanctum has with the Order Dracul, all new artifacts are supposed to pass through them first, so that way they
through the Dracul or the Lancia?
Through the Dracul. This way, certain assessments can be made as to their value, their nature, so forth, before they are passed on to the Lenkia Sanctum, or more directly to the museum itself.
Yes.
It doesn't list any specifics, though, as far as what's going on there. You do find one note, however, that references the Nomad that arrived last night. It's very short, but it reads as follows. The subject seems very stubborn. She has yet to give up any information as to how many there are standing tall. If her ramblings are accurate, we might be in danger with this whole lupine situation. I'll have to get Sergeant Walden to look into this a bit more. And that's all that's written there.
Alright. Can she find a blank piece of paper?
Well, I assume you have one in your notebook.
Yeah, but if she pulls out her notebook, then her own little masquerade is kind of blown.
Well, weren't you going to say that you were going to leave her a note?
This is very true. Well, this is conflicting. Okay, she's gonna go ahead and... Okay, hold on. The coats that are there, real quick, did any of them look torn up or tattered or anything?
No, they didn't.
Okay. If that's the case, then she's going to withdraw her notebook. Okay. Sheriff Graves is a maquette too, right? No, she's a gangrel. Never mind.
Yes.
She is a gangrel. Yeah.
Damn. Anyway, I was kind of hoping Lucia could write a shorthand note that would be kind of hard for others to decipher, that Graves would be able to kind of figure out on her own.
Mm-hmm.
Basically something along the lines of Lucia came to visit, needs to ask about local werewolf tribes, also possible Carthian influence.
Okay, you go ahead and you jot that down and you put it there. Okay, and then going back to
Trent's still talking to Bella too. He's subtly trying to direct her attention towards by the door rather than towards these guys. But he's asking.
Lucy is headed on her way out. She's actually standing by waiting to interrupt you.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, interest in the crone you have, yes. Power
Yes, actually.
Of true power.
Yes, ma'am. I was a faithful man in life, but I'm not so sure about the Lankia Sanctum myself. I'd actually like to learn more about the circle.
Perhaps I teach you much, yes, she says with a sly grin.
I would like that very much, ma'am.
At this point, Lucia interjects, but wouldn't Sister Magus have it run by her first?
She goes a bit and she stops and then looks over. Yes, she would. Most interested she would be in this development. The student of the student who turned her back on her to embrace the crone. Great irony in this.
I'm quite aware of that, but I do teach my student to keep an open mind about everything, lest he fail to learn anything.
Yes. She says with a still reserved hiss. But I trust note left, yes?
Yes, I left a note specifically for her on that stack of papers, whatever that was.
Then leave you must now.
Most assuredly.
She goes and she smiles with a nod. As she waits for you she waits for you all to leave the room before closing it up and locking it.
Sir, I do believe you were standing much longer than is required in a room for which we just left a note in. And she just directed that at Tybalt.
What?
What?
I assumed that after I assumed that I just kind of looked in and then left. I didn't think I was standing around the room shooting suspicious airs.
Wissy's whistling.
Exactly. Twiddling thumbs. Well.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting your night, ma'am. We'll be going.
She goes and
I hope to see you
she
soon.
gives a nod and she waits for you to she waits for you to basically disappear out of her sight.
One final note before I'm out of your hair, Mr. Stravnik, is I don't suppose you have the local whereabouts of the nearest lupine pack.
Lupine pack controlled by us. Why you need talk them?
Concerning the information I brought up earlier.
Her
I'm still
eyes-
I'm
eyes
still
seem
investigating.
Very, very suspicious and very wary. They safe for now. Out of way alliance we have.
If this alliance is so sure, then there is simply no harm in allowing us to speak with them, since our dominance is so definite.
You are
Yes?
free to find them as you will, yes.
Very well. Thank you for your patience and hospitality.
She goes and she nods a bit, still waiting for you to leave out of her sight.
It's at this moment that Lucia actually just starts walking off to her own little sanctum.
Alright.
So, Miss Cole, I assumed you learned something of dire importance and great import. I'm running out of adjectives.
Do you find me some common sneak? I did exactly what I came to do. I left a note. For now, we must continue our other leads. Let us retire to my haven where we may regather our information and possibly seek out a new path.
I assume we're walking out of the earshot of the mistress, yes?
Yes.
All right.
But that doesn't mean that Lucia is willing to talk about it so openly in a place controlled with cameras and other things that can record audio.
Wait, Charles, you understand what she just said? We get to go in her haven. I'm down. This will be a first.
Mark this day. Yes.
Alright then. So you arrive at Lucia's door and I assume Lucia opens it.
Yes.
And
Swarm
welcomes
of
in.
bats.
It's a swarm of bats.
Step inside, and I'm gonna guess is rather unimpressed. There was no caviar to be had.
No caviar, just a whole bunch of bookshelves, a bed, and a table with a whole bunch of lab chemistry stuff.
There's
And a
lot
computer in the corner.
There's a lot less dead bodies in here than I imagined.
Yes, it's quaint in a simplistic sort of way.
No dissecting going on in here, nothing.
Do you find me some ghoulish mad scientist? Either way, with that said, she closes the door and turns to them. You'd be a fool to speak aloud of anything learned anywhere under any covenant's control.
Yes, Miss Cole, of course. That is the only.
Either way, we are running out of options, and we still must locate a pack of lupines so we can assuredly find out whether or not my student's sister is under safekeeping. However, I have another
Just
goal
then,
in mind.
Lucia's cell phone rings.
Actually, it's probably something more like, Scissor Sisters, I can't decide whether you should live or die.
Ah.
And Lucia answers it. Lucia speaking.
She blinded me.
Oh, okay, you just answered it. Okay. You answered it. And it just suddenly goes on. This is a message for Mr. Maddox. The voice
If this-
speaks up. It's a very unfamiliar voice. You have no idea who this is.
If this is a message for Mr. Maddox, it has to be relayed through me.
Tell him his sister will not live this night.
Is that a conditional statement or a threat?
It is a fact. And then the voice suddenly ceases, and then there's a dead dial tone.
With that, she hangs up. She turns to Trenton. Your sister has now gained priority in our investigation. For if we do not find her this night, she will die.
What? Who just called you?
No one of any information gathered.
How do we know that she's gonna die?
Well, it was stated as a fact, which means that they are not providing conditions for us to ascertain her safety, and it is meant to shock and scare you into action. So rather than doing something inane and stupid, we continue down this as fast as we can, and that leaves only one option for us, which I am loath to go through, regarding some new information I acquired.
That being.
Sergeant Wells of possibly the New Eden Police Department.
Sergeant Walden.
Walden.
How are the cops gonna help us here?
Well, Trent, recall last night.
I don't want to think about it.
Recall, as we did our investigations, we were interrupted by what sounded like police and quite possibly lupine. That would most assuredly think that our sheriff has contacts with the police department and quite possibly lupines in the police department, which, considering the method of elimination, would leave us to believe that Sergeant Walden is a lupine, quite possibly the one who caught us investigating.
Trent puts his hand in his fist together.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk to him.
Now remember, keep calm, and talking is what we'll do. Werewolves are highly territorial, and have been known to not think rationally through any course of decision.
Lucio, we're gonna find my sister. We're not gonna let any of this politics get in the way.
If you barrel through politics, you'll find that most people are going to go ahead and move without you. Bear with me. Do me a small favor. Lucia heads over to her table and pulls out a small little, the little chemistry vials that contain a small amount of liquid.
Beaker.
Not a beaker, like the small one, like the little slender tubes.
The vials.
The vials, yes. She hands one to Trenton. Bleed into that for a small second or two. Let the vitae evaporate.
What? Ah, right.
Humor me on this.
All right. And Trent bites his wrist. And
All right,
drips
you,
into the.
you leak into it till it fills up to the appropriate amount.
Yeah, and then he just heals up.
Like I said, Lucia is going to wait until she is absolutely sure the vitae has bled out.
Yeah,
as it,
it's bled out.
all right.
Trent,
Then-
how much of this do you want?
I only needed a little bit, but thank you for providing more than enough. And Lucia dips her fingers in it and tastes it.
Classic.
Okay.
She wants to see
hope
if
it
it has
tastes
any familiarity with either gangrel or quite possibly the lupine blood that she tasted at the apartment.
I hope it tasted dirty for you, Lucia.
No, there isn't.
No connection whatsoever.
No.
With that, she just sets it down on one of those little containers. Well, that kills that alley of investigation. Your sister may or may or not be a werewolf. Either way, let us carry on to the nearest police department. Meet me outside. I've got to check with one of my contacts real quick.
Oh, this is so out of character. This is so frustrating for me because you guys are so close to getting a major plot area, and then it's like I don't want to make it seem like I'm giving it to you, if that makes any sense.
Don't. Yeah, just
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, now.
Charles.
No, go ahead.
Yes.
I was going to step outside and actually ask you if I could make some sort of knowledge check.
Okay.
I'm just basically going to confirm suspicions about whether I can identify which particular faction owns Warehouse 13 and whether any particular communists have their holdings there.
Okay. Go ahead and roll.
What should I roll?
I'd
Intelligence?
say that'd be intelligence plus streetwise.
Sure, maybe. Okay. Not as great as I thought it was.
Politics.
All of it.
It's nothing but it's nothing but secrets and lies with those ponies.
Secrets and lies. Lies and secrets.
All right. Go ahead.
I'm waiting. For some reason, it's going slow. Yeah, 2 successes.
All right. You know from your casual musings that particular warehouse is, of course, owned by not your friendly local neighborhood Reds, but none other than the Order Dracul.
Ah. And, any of the other assault places, do they have a common link? That was on the map?
You can tell, the only thing that you can tell is that there are a number of warehouses. Some are marked in different colors. You can assume owned by different covenants. You assume the red ones are the ones owned by the Carthians. And like this particular one that was blue is possibly, from your knowledge, owned by the Order. So you're able to make some assumptions of confrontations or skirmishes or something to that extent that have been exchanging at these current locations. But
All right.
you're able to follow the trail, so to speak, of when these events happened from your best of your abilities to find that this is the most recent entry on her map of the city.
Okay. We're waiting for Lucy outside, but Mr. Maddox, I'm checking again at the door.
Mm-hmm.
You are interested, of course, in finding your sister, yes?
Of course.
Let it be known that I may have another more direct route to her, something that I can almost guarantee success on. However, I don't think Miss Cole would approve, and it requires something of an application yourself, specifically a donation of an item. Just know that it's an option that's available. However, it will require that you weigh on my side when I bring it up with Miss Cole.
I hear you.
All right.
And Lucia's really starting to piss me off, so I'm with you on this one.
Smile. Thank you, Mr. Maddox. That is always appreciated.
Wait, what do you think she's going to do with my blood in there?
Oh, poke it, prod it, set it on fire, light it with a stick.
Trent yells at Lucy, "You better give me that back."
You're outside.
Oh.
You built a
Yeah.
shack in the museum?
Well, no,
It's a
well, I think she meant outside the room.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
A shack.
I just
Wait,
pictured
yeah,
this
Actually,
outhouse.
just to get a better picture of Lucia's haven, what is it? How is it installed in there?
It's like a study, basically. It's
Like an office?
yeah, it's basically a one-bedroom kind of thing. There's a small desk and a whole lot of books and a small laptop computer.
Okay.
It's like in the office area of
It's
the museum,
not
probably
meant to
not among the
entertain.
exhibits. Yeah.
Right. So kind of like the office rooms and bloodlines when you're in the museum.
It's right
But more
next to the
books and
raptor exhibit.
right next to the riot.
It's
All right.
squished between those two.
Now then, seeing as how you're kind of decided on a plan, more or less, I'm waiting on Miss Lucia to decide what she is going to do.
Lucia is going to check on the information that she received from her contact.
That'll only take a second.
Okay, then.
'Cause
It
it's
seems
encrypting.
as though, as I've said, the information is encrypted, but, you are familiar with Scumbag Steve's particular method of encryption, so you're able to start the decryption process. So, go ahead and give me a...
Using your serial decoder ring.
No.
Always love those.
And one particular phrase comes up over and over again. Eat more Ovaltine. No, in all seriousness now. Give me an intelligence plus computer roll.
Intelligence plus computer, that is 6. 6 dice to determine whether or not she blows the cover on this whole case.
Bow!
Does
No, it's
she get a plus one?
It's just to start the decryption. Depending on
Oh.
how many successes is how long it'll take to decrypt it.
2 successes.
Doesn't she get a plus one for using Linux or something?
No. Anywho, the decryption process starts, and you can tell it tells you 58 minutes remaining.
Alright. Can she put the computer in lock, but still have it decrypt?
Yeah. You can lock it down easily. It's a Windows key and L.
Yeah. So she locks it, and then she heads back out.
Okay. As you head back out, you see Trenton and Charles kind of huddle together a bit as they're muttering to themselves, and they kind of stop when they see you.
Miss Cole, are we ready to depart then?
As ready as we'll ever be. I am still doing what you requested of me, and digging for more information on Synthesol.
Well, that is greatly appreciated, miss. I never expect less from someone who bargained a favor.
And remember, a favor is exactly what you owe.
Yes.
And with that, we will take a short little break.